Ladies and gentlemen, life has a funny way of testing us. Every day, someone, something, or some situation is going to try to push your buttons. And how you respond in those moments, that's what separates the successful from the average, the happy from the frustrated. I'm here to talk to you about something simple but powerful, the power of not reacting and learning how to control your emotions. Not reacting is one of the most powerful tools you can develop in life, and yet it is one of the most misunderstood. So many people think that holding back, pausing, or choosing not to respond is a sign of weakness, that it shows a lack of courage or conviction. Let me tell you something, nothing could be further from the truth. Not reacting is not about being weak, it is about being strong enough to control yourself, to rise above the chaos, and to choose your own path rather than letting someone else dictate it. It takes more strength to remain calm in the face of insult, criticism, or frustration than it does to explode in anger or lash out. That strength does not come naturally to most people. It comes from discipline, awareness, and practice. And it is one of the most valuable qualities a person can possess. Think about life for a moment. Every day we encounter situations that are designed to provoke us, test our patience, or push our buttons. Someone cuts you off in traffic, a coworker takes credit for your idea, a friend says something hurtful, or a stranger speaks rudely to you for no reason at all. Your first instinct might be to react, to yell, argue, or fight back, but that is the easy choice. The easy choice is often the wrong choice. True strength is shown in the ability to pause, to breathe, and to respond with purpose rather than emotion. When you choose not to react immediately, you reclaim power over the situation. You no longer give away your energy, your peace, or your dignity to the circumstances or the person who tried to provoke you. There's a story I like to share from my own life. Early in my career, I faced countless situations where people doubted me, mocked me, and even tried to humiliate me publicly. I could have reacted, and many times I felt that surge of anger rising within me. But each time I caught myself and chose not to react impulsively, I preserved something far more valuable than my temporary satisfaction of retaliation. I preserved my focus, my reputation, and my future opportunities. In those moments, not reacting was an act of courage. It was a choice to rise above the noise, to show control and strength, and to demonstrate to the world that I am bigger than the moment and stronger than my emotions. That is what strength really is. It is not measured by how loud you can shout, but by how much control you can maintain when every part of you wants to explode. Learning not to react also teaches you patience and self-awareness. You start to recognize the triggers that make you angry or frustrated. You start to understand why certain things affect you and why others do not. You develop a sense of perspective that allows you to respond appropriately rather than being swept away by temporary emotions. Over time, people begin to notice this strength in you. They respect you. They listen to you. And more importantly, you gain respect for yourself. There is nothing more powerful than the inner satisfaction of knowing you controlled your response, even when circumstances tried to control you. Not reacting also protects your relationships, your reputation, and your peace of mind. Reacting in anger or frustration often leads to consequences we later regret. Words said in anger cannot be taken back. Actions taken impulsively can damage careers and friendships, and emotions expressed uncontrollably can leave lasting scars on those around us. By choosing not to react, you create a space to think, to evaluate, and to act with wisdom. And that restraint is a form of strength and impacts every area of your life, from family to work to friendships and beyond. Ultimately, not reacting is an expression of mastery over yourself. It shows that you are not a prisoner of your emotions or the circumstances around you. It shows that you can face conflict, disappointment, and provocation without losing your composure. That ability separates ordinary people from extraordinary ones. It allows you to navigate life with confidence, dignity, and power. Every time you choose not to react impulsively, you build a foundation of strength that will carry you through challenges far greater than anything you have faced before. And in that power, in that calm, in that control, lies one of the most essential keys to success in life. One of the hardest lessons we have to learn in life is that we cannot control other people. No matter how much we want them to act differently, say different things, or treat us the way we think we deserve, we cannot control anyone but ourselves. And yet, so many people spend their lives trying to do exactly that. They try to make others behave the way they want. And when those people disappoint them, they get frustrated, angry, or bitter. That is wasted energy. That is power given away. The truth is, the only thing you can control in this life is your own response, your own choices, and your own actions. When you accept that your life changes, think about it. Every day we interact with people who have their own thoughts, feelings, and motivations. They might be rude, dismissive, selfish, or careless. And when they act in ways we don't like, we feel the urge to react, to argue, to criticize, to yell, or to withdraw. But here's the thing, no matter how much you want them to act differently, it doesn't change who they are. You can't force someone to behave according to your standards, and you can't control their words, actions, or decisions. The only thing you have control over is how you respond. That is where your real power lies. When you stop trying to control others and focus on controlling yourself, life becomes simpler. You stop wasting energy on things you cannot change. You stop being frustrated by people's mistakes, their words, or their behavior. Instead, you focus on your own actions, your own mindset, and your own growth. That doesn't mean you accept mistreatment or tolerate bad behavior. It means you choose your response wisely. You choose to respond with patience instead of anger, with understanding instead of resentment, with strategy instead of impulsiveness. That is the difference between reacting like everyone else and responding like a person in control. I've had my fair share of people who tried to push me, provoke me, or disrespect me. In my earlier years, I used to react immediately, letting my emotions dictate my behavior. I would get angry, argue back, and sometimes even say things I regretted later. But over time, I realized that reacting to people's bad behavior only gave them power over me. It gave them control of my emotions, my energy, and my focus. I realized that if I could master my own responses, I would never have to be at the mercy of someone else's actions again. And once I understood that, my life changed completely. Controlling your response is not always easy. It requires self-awareness, patience, and discipline. It requires recognizing that your emotions are yours, and no one else can make you feel a certain way unless you allow it. When someone says something hurtful or unfair, you have a choice. You can let it break you down, or you can let it pass, maintaining your composure and your peace of mind. That choice is yours every single time. And the more you practice it, the stronger you become. The more you practice it, the more confident you feel. You start to understand that your life is not dictated by the actions of others. It is dictated by your own reactions, your own mindset, and your own decisions. Focusing on your responses also gives you clarity in decision-making. When you let emotions take over, you often act impulsively and make choices you later regret. But when you pause, assess, and respond thoughtfully, you maintain control over your life and your destiny. You can choose to respond in a way that benefits you, that protects your peace, and that helps you grow. That is true power. The ability to decide how you will react, regardless of what others do. The beauty of mastering your responses is that it changes your relationships, your work, and your life. People will notice your calmness, your patience, and your wisdom. They will respect you for the control you have over yourself. You will become someone others look to for stability and guidance. not someone who is controlled by circumstances or by the moods of those around you. And most importantly, you will free yourself from the unnecessary stress, anger, and frustration that try to control what cannot be controlled. Life will always throw people problems and challenges your way. And some of those people will try to push your buttons, test your patience, or provoke a reaction. But when you remember that you cannot control others, only your response, you gain freedom, you gain strength, you gain the ability to act, think, and live in a way that is aligned with your goals and values. That is the power of focusing on yourself and your own response. And that power is what separates those who live a life of frustration from those who live a life of control, peace, and success. Life moves fast, often throws situations at us that demand an immediate reaction. Your first instinct might be to respond quickly, to speak without thinking, or to act in the heat of the moment. But here's the truth: reacting too quickly can create more problems than it solves. Pausing before you react is one of the most important skills you can develop. That pause, just a few seconds to take a breath, to think, to reflect, gives you clarity. It allows you to see the situation for what it really is, instead of letting emotions cloud your judgment. It may seem simple, but this pause can completely change the outcome of any situation. Every day, people get themselves into trouble because they react without thinking. A careless word, an angry response, or a rushed decision can escalate conflicts, damage relationships, and create problems that never needed to exist. It's not the situations themselves that ruin lives. It's the reactions to them. When you pause, you give yourself the opportunity to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. You give yourself control over your emotions, your words, and your actions. That controls what separates people who struggle in life from those who succeed. Pausing before reacting also allows you to consider the consequences. Often, our immediate reaction feels justified, but when we take a step back, we can see the bigger picture. Will responding angrily make the situation worse? Will a harsh word create a rift in a relationship? Will acting impulsively hurt your reputation or future opportunities? Taking even a few moments to pause gives you the chance to make a wiser choice, one that benefits you rather than sabotages you. Life is full of moments where one small pause can prevent a lifetime of regret. I've learned from my own experience that the pause is a powerful tool. Early in my career, I often reacted immediately to criticism, insults, or setbacks. I would argue, defend myself, or try to prove people wrong in the heat of the moment. And many times, those reactions only made things worse. I realized that if I could pause, even for just a breath, I could think through my response. I could assess whether my words would build or destroy, whether my actions would solve the problem or escalate it. That small pause gave me clarity, and clarity gave me power. It allowed me to respond with confidence, wisdom, and strength rather than with anger or frustration. Pausing also helps you manage your emotions. When you react immediately, your emotions often take control, and you act in ways you later regret. But when you pause, you give your mind a chance to catch up with your feelings. You recognize your anger, your frustration, or your hurt, and you choose how to handle it instead of letting it control you. That ability to step back, to observe your emotions without being overwhelmed by them, is a skill that changes everything. It prevents unnecessary conflicts, protects relationships, and helps you make better decisions in every area of life. The pause doesn't have to be long to be effective. Even a few seconds to breathe, to reflect, and to think through your response can make a huge difference. It's about creating a habit of mindful response rather than impulsive reaction. Over time, this habit becomes second nature. You begin to respond thoughtfully, calmly, and strategically in every situation. You gain a sense of confidence because you know that you control yourself, not your circumstances. You also gain respect from others because they see your composure your wisdom, and your ability to handle difficult moments with grace. When you pause before reacting, you also open the door to better solutions. Sometimes, the best response is not to react at all. Sometimes staying quiet, listening, or waiting until you have all the information leads to a far better outcome than jumping in immediately. That pause creates space for reflection, understanding, and strategy. It is a tool that allows you to navigate life's challenges with intelligence, patience, and strength. Pausing before reacting is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of power. It shows that you control your emotions, that you value clarity over chaos, and that you understand the impact of your words and actions. The next time life tests you, the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember the power of the pause. Take a breath, think, and respond with intention. That pause will save you from unnecessary problems, give you clarity, and put you in control of your life in ways that reacting impulsively never will. Emotional control is not something you are born with. It is a skill, and like any skill, it must be developed and practiced. Many people believe that some people are naturally calm and composed while others are naturally reactive. That is only part of the story. The truth is, emotional control can be learned, cultivated, and strengthened through consistent effort. The key is to start small, practicing self-discipline in everyday situations until it becomes a habit, a part of who you are. Over time, these small moments of restraint add up, building a foundation of emotional strength that can carry you through life's biggest challenges. Life presents countless opportunities to practice emotional control. It might be something as simple as someone cutting in front of you in line, a rude comment from a stranger, or a frustrating situation at work. These are small moments, but they are powerful training grounds. Each time you pause instead of reacting, each time you breathe instead of snapping, each time you choose understanding over anger, you are exercising the muscle of emotional control. And just like a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. These small victories in everyday situations prepare you for the bigger battles in life when your emotions are tested in ways that can have lasting consequences. Practicing emotional control also builds confidence. When you know that you have the ability to manage your reactions, you approach life with a sense of calm and assurance. You no longer feel at the mercy of every insult, setback, or challenge that comes your way. You know that you can choose how to respond, and that knowledge gives you power. It allows you to make decisions from a place of strength rather than weakness, from clarity rather than confusion, and from wisdom rather than impulse. People who practice emotional control consistently are often the ones others turn to in moments of crisis because they demonstrate steadiness, reliability, and composure. I've had my share of experiences where emotional control was tested. Early in my career, I faced situations that would have made anyone angry, frustrated, or upset. People doubted me, challenged me, and sometimes even tried to humiliate me. In the beginning, I reacted in the moment. I let my emotions control my actions, and the results were often counterproductive. Over time, I realized that I had to learn to control my emotions intentionally. I started practicing in small ways, pausing before responding, taking a deep breath, thinking about my next words, and considering the consequences of my actions. Slowly, this became a habit, and with practice, I found myself able to handle even the most challenging situations with composure and confidence. Emotional control is also about perspective. When you practice controlling your reactions, you learn to see situations more clearly. You understand that most challenges are temporary, that most provocations are not personal, and that reacting impulsively often makes things worse. You start to recognize patterns in your own behavior, identifying triggers and learning how to manage them before they escalate. You also develop empathy, understanding that others are acting from their own experiences and struggles, which helps you respond with patience and wisdom rather than anger or frustration. The beauty of practicing emotional control is that it creates a ripple effect in your life. The more you master your emotions, the more positive your relationships become. You avoid unnecessary conflicts and misunderstandings. You build trust and respect with the people around you. You gain a sense of inner peace that cannot be taken away by external circumstances. And as this skill grows, it becomes easier to maintain control in high-pressure situations. In moments of stress or when life throws challenges your way that could overwhelm anyone else, developing emotional control requires patience, persistence, and self-awareness. It is not a quick fix, it is a lifelong practice. Each day provides opportunities to strengthen this skill, to pause, to reflect, and to respond intentionally. And each small moment of self-discipline compounds over time, creating a life that is guided by choice rather than reaction, by clarity rather than chaos, and by strength rather than weakness. When you commit to practicing emotional control consistently, you gain a power that transforms not just your own life, but the lives of everyone you interact with. One of the most transformative choices you can make in life is to choose patience, wisdom, and understanding over impulsive reactions. It sounds simple when you hear it, but in the moment, when emotions are high and pressures are real, it is anything but easy. Every day, life places us in situations that test our patience and challenge our composure. Someone cuts us off in traffic, a colleague criticizes our work unfairly, or a friend says something hurtful without realizing the impact. In those moments, we have a choice. We can react impulsively, driven by anger, frustration, or pride, or we can pause, reflect, and respond with patience, wisdom, and understanding. The people who consistently make the latter choice are the ones who build strong character and gain respect in every area of their lives. Choosing patience means resisting the urge to act immediately when provoked. It means giving yourself the time to assess the situation, to think about the possible consequences of your actions, and to respond intentionally rather than impulsively. Impulsive reactions may feel satisfying in the moment, but they often create unnecessary conflict, regret, or damage to relationships. Patience allows you to consider the bigger picture, to weigh your options, and to respond in a way that aligns with your long-term goals rather than short-term emotions. It is a quiet strength that demonstrates self-control and maturity, and it is one of the defining traits of people who succeed in life. Wisdom is closely tied to patience. It is the ability to see beyond the immediate moment, to understand the potential outcomes of your choices, and to act in a way that benefits you and others. When you respond with wisdom, you are no longer a victim of your emotions. You make decisions that are thoughtful, strategic, and effective. Wisdom helps you recognize which battles are worth fighting and which are not. It allows you to respond with clarity and insight rather than being swept away by anger or frustration. Every time you practice wisdom in your responses, you reinforce a pattern of behavior that strengthens your character and shapes the person you are becoming. Understanding is the third element of this trio. When you choose to respond with understanding, you see situations from perspectives other than your own. You consider that people act out of their own experiences, challenges, and emotions, and that their actions are not always about you personally. Understanding allows you to respond with empathy and compassion, even when it is difficult. It softens the impact of provocation, reduces conflict, and helps maintain relationships in ways that impulsive reactions cannot. Understanding also fosters patience and wisdom, because when you take the time to see the full picture, your decisions become more thoughtful and measured. Building character through these choices is not an overnight process. It is cultivated moment by moment, decision by decision. Each time you choose patience over impulsivity, wisdom over rashness, and understanding over judgment, you are strengthening your character. You are shaping the person who will respond calmly in crises, make wise decisions under pressure, and maintain dignity when others seek to provoke or undermine you. Over time, this practice becomes second nature. Your mind becomes trained to respond rather than react, and your character becomes evident to everyone who interacts with you. People respect those who act with patience, wisdom, and understanding, and they are naturally drawn to their presence. Life will always present challenges, conflicts, and moments designed to test you. But those who choose patience, wisdom, and understanding rise above the chaos. They do not allow the heat of the moment to dictate their behavior. They understand that character is built not in easy moments, but in the moments when it is most difficult to remain composed. Every time you make a conscious choice to respond thoughtfully, you are investing in your own growth, your reputation, and your ability to navigate life successfully. Choosing these qualities over impulsive reactions is not weakness. It is strength. It is proof that you are in control of yourself, that you are not a prisoner of your emotions, and that you have the ability to act with integrity and purpose. It strengthens not only your character, but also your relationships, your career, and your peace of mind. Each decision to pause, reflect, and respond with patience, wisdom, and understanding compounds over time, creating a life defined by resilience, respect, and dignity. Those who master this practice discover that true power lies not in reacting, but in choosing how to respond in every situation. Mastering your emotions is one of the most powerful things you can do in life. When you take control of how you feel, how you respond, and how you act, you unlock a level of personal power that most people never experience. Emotions are a natural part of being human, but when they control you, they can dictate your life, lead to poor decisions, and create unnecessary conflict. When you master your emotions, you become the one in charge. You no longer allow anger, fear, frustration, or disappointment to rule your decisions. Instead, you respond with clarity, confidence, and purpose. That mastery brings peace to your mind, strength to your character, and opens doors to opportunities that are only visible to those who are in control of themselves. Think about life for a moment. So many people go through life being controlled by their emotions. One day they are elated by a small success, the next day devastated by criticism. Their actions are impulsive, their decisions inconsistent, and their relationships often strained. They give their power away to circumstances, to the words of others, and to the unpredictable flow of events around them. But when you learn to master your emotions, you stop being a passenger in your own life. You become the driver. You determine your responses, your actions, and the energy you bring to every situation. That is the foundation of personal power. Mastery over your emotions also creates peace. When you are no longer at the mercy of your mood or the behavior of others, life becomes calmer and more predictable. You stop wasting energy on anger, frustration, or regret. You stop replaying every hurtful word, every perceived slight, and every disappointment over and over in your mind. That peace allows you to focus on what truly matters: your goals, your relationships, your growth, and your happiness. It is the inner calm that makes it possible to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience, and it is a type of freedom that few people ever experience. Our personal power and peace are not just about avoiding negative feelings. They are about using your emotions as a tool rather than letting them use you. Mastering your emotions means you can harness your energy, channel it into productive action, and make decisions based on reason and strategy rather than temporary impulses. It allows you to face challenges with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you have the ability to respond in a way that aligns with your long-term vision. People who master their emotions are often the same people who achieve extraordinary results because they remain focused, consistent, and undistracted by the chaos around them. Mastering your emotions also opens doors to life-changing opportunities. When you are calm, composed, and self-controlled, others notice. They trust you, respect you, and are more likely to seek your input, follow your guidance, or partner with you in meaningful ways. Opportunities come to those who are ready to receive them, and part of being ready is having the emotional stability to handle them wisely. People who react impulsively, act out of anger, or let fear guide their decisions often miss these opportunities. They may have talent or potential, but their lack of emotional control prevents them from stepping into the success they are capable of achieving. Learning to master your emotions is a process, and it requires practice. It starts recognizing what you are feeling in the moment and understanding why. It continues with patience, pausing before reacting and considering the consequences of your actions. It grows through consistency, making a conscious choice to respond thoughtfully in every situation, whether big or small. And over time, this practice becomes second nature. You begin to navigate life with a sense of confidence and calm that others admire, and you build a life that reflects your ability to rise above circumstances, remain composed under pressure, and seize opportunities with clarity and courage. Ultimately, mastering your emotions transforms your life. It gives you power over yourself, peace in your mind, and the ability to create opportunities that can change your life forever. When you stop reacting impulsively, when you learn to respond with thought and intention, you take control of your destiny. You become someone who is not easily shaken, not easily swayed, and not easily defeated. That mastery is the key to living a life of fulfillment, achievement, and profound personal strength. Those who understand this truth realize that the real power in life is not in controlling the world around them, but in mastering the world within themselves.